Hello, hello. How are you guys? All right, so let's chat. I'll let people hop on for a minute and we will go from there. All right, I'm excited. Hello, hello, hello. Make sure you guys say hi if you are new to catching me live. Make sure you post a 1 below, 111 below. If you are an oldie but goodie, you guys know what to do. Post a 2 below, okay? All right, so, oh my gosh, my life's been crazy, crazy, guys. I am trying to help you guys, but I'm like kind of going batshit crazy for real. I'm just gonna keep it real, okay? So, if you if you don't like cussing, you got to get off this page because I cuss. I can't help myself. All right, so with that said, make sure you post a 1 below if you are new. All right, your first through third time catching me live, okay? Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie, okay? Make sure you guys share this, and if you share, post share below, and you will go into the hat to win gifts and prizes, okay? Hey, Michelle. Hey, Christina. So, tomorrow I have surgery. So, I just want you guys to know that I will be out of commission next week, all right? You don't want me going live next week at all, okay? Because I don't do very well on drugs, all right? And so it's going to be interesting, all right? So like, you know how some people when they have surgery and they go on Percocet, it's like, what is Percocet? Like a downer or whatever. And it doesn't down me, all right? I literally will have surgery and then I come home and I'm cleaning the house. I'm like, it does the opposite for me. And then everybody's telling me, Raven, sit your butt down. You're going to hurt yourself. Because for some reason, instead of putting me to sleep or whatever, it wakes me up. So, but then my brain is not there. So IEPs will not be on the forefront. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm not like disappearing from the face of the earth. I will be back. My goal is to go live again next Sunday. But, you know, it's going to be how I'm feeling. Okay? So, no, I'm setting up posts. So you guys will get posts and information and all of that kind of stuff. Yay, that's awesome. Maybe it's why won't the assistant superintendent retire, Cynthia? Because she's the worst. I want her gone. Forget the superintendent. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to let you know I'm not dropping off the face of the earth, okay? And so with that said, we're going to talk, I figured we need to have a take 2 of evaluations because it was a live that a lot of people really enjoyed and they asked a lot of questions. So with evaluations and test scores and all that kind of stuff we've talked about, I'm not going to get too much into because I know it's super boring about the mean and standard deviation and all of this kind of stuff. But I remember doing an IEP makeover the other day and I was going over things and I was quiet for like 10 minutes. And I finally piped up and I said, hey, I'm looking over your assessment scores because there's no explanation and I'm trying to figure out what the mean and standard deviation was because there's no knowledge of it. And I'm trying to figure out how your child's score came about, and then what was it referencing? Was it a norm reference test? Was it a criterion reference test? Because it didn't message on the IEP or on the evaluations what type of test it was. It just said, these are the scores, and we did a psychoeducational and we did the Kaufman test. And I'm like, okay, well, you can measure it in different ways and you can look at it in different ways. You can look at it in reference to, is it a score based off all the children in that grade level of across the United States and then how they scored, or is it your child's individual score of where they just scored? You know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure, how that looked, So I'll kind of give you an example of what, and I've showed you guys these things before, of what one looks like. All right. Pull this up. So this is what a score chart kind of means. All right. It's called a bell curve. You can download, well, people who have my course have this written out for them, and then different scores that they can print out. And so you have your mean, okay, which is in the middle, all right, and that can be different numbers. And then you have your standard deviation to the negative, and you have your standard deviation to the positive. And then you're able to find where your child lies. And that's why when it says below or low or something like that, that's when it's in the negative. And average is kind of right there. And then you move on to, you know, different percentages, if you will. So that's why there's scores where it's like a percentage rate, or there's other scores, or you could say percentile. And then there's other scores that are where your child falls, you know, and there's a number. And it's usually called a standard score. All right. So it's very frustrating and confusing. But if you don't understand what type of test was given and how it was referenced and that number came about, then you're not going to know where your child is. Okay? Because if it says, let's just say the IQ, all right, that's a different type of number, all right, than if you have reading and it says, let's just say 84, all right? Well, you have to know if the max number is 100, and a lot of times it's not. So there's lots of tests that go up to 120, 130, and if it's an 84, that's average, by the way. But sometimes it's considered average at 90, all right? So then you have to figure out, okay, so 84, not too far behind, and then you can kind of figure out where your child lies and where some deficits are. So then if you see like 60s, then you know out of 128, 130, 120, that's pretty low. That's at the 50% mark, pretty much, all right? And that's actually in the negative. So, because average is the only positive, okay? And then you go that way, it's all negative. You go this way, it's all positive. So you have to figure out where they lie. I know, I'm speaking French right now. Okay, so let's just talk about the mean really quick. So if the mean's 100, all right, then 50 is 50%, all right? That's easy to figure out. But a lot of times it's not 100, all right? So sometimes it can be 10. A lot of times it's 15. So you have to be able to figure out the math. It's this mess. It's a mess, all right? And it's very confusing. So like for 10 minutes, I'm sitting there trying to figure it out because it's not easy. And then I figured out where this child was so I could understand where they lied, where they scored in that evaluation, even though it was 2 years prior, all right? So let's move on. I want to just cover a couple things, and these are kind of tips. We're not really doing a huge content night, but I wanted to kind of go over this with you so that you understood it. And if you have questions, I want you to ask, because a lot of us, at least a lot of my clients, I'm having them go and get an evaluation. And when you get an evaluation, you want to know how to read it. All right. So all right, and this is what's going to create your child's strengths and show your child's strengths and show their weaknesses. And this is how your educational program is then brought to light, okay? And that's how you create your present levels, all right? So when an evaluation's done, hopefully it's a full and conclusive evaluation, which means all areas of academics are evaluated, all right? Not just reading, not just math, not just an FBA. I have a client who their last evaluation was an FBA, and that's what the school called their triennial. I don't think so, okay? And so it's really important to make sure that you know how to read the assessments and you're able to argue them, all right? So, all right. Give me a second. I've been talking all day, it seems like. All right. So we're going to talk about learning about standardized norm referenced tests. All right. And criterion referenced tests. Does anybody have an idea of what that looks like? Are you familiar with what the difference is between them? And are you comfortable with reading them. All right, so norm reference tests, all right? Those are the standardized tests, all right? That's like taking your state assessment, all right? So a state assessment, you can basically compare that to your child's performance to other children's performance. Super easy to remember. So just think about a norm reference test as where does your child fall along with all other children who are taking that same test and that same grade at that typically the same age, okay, give or take. All right, so criterion reference tests are used to measure knowledge and skill. So what's the difference? One is to measure where your child falls in comparison to, all right? The second one is where are they individually, all right? What do they know? What is their knowledge and skill, all right? That is where a criterion reference test is where present levels should come from. Now, here's the problem. Go back to your evaluations for me. Go read them. See what it says, because many of the evaluations that I am seeing that schools are doing are not criterion referenced. So, with that said, absolutely not. So here's the deal. Is no I'll tell you this, Cynthia, there's no way that's going to be done. I say no. You're one of my clients. I'm telling you right now, that's not happening. All right? You do not take a child who has apraxia and other disabilities, not that he has other disabilities, but any type of reading disability, and say, oh, I'm going to do it online. No way. That's not even going to be an effective assessment. Might as well just throw that thing out because it's not going to tell you anything. All right? So what needs to happen is they need to get him into a room at the school and do the test. And then you're going to say, no, I don't agree. And then you're going to go get an IE. And then you're going to have the score. So, all right, guys. So the child's score is then based off mastery of that material. So do you see how criterion referenced? It's the one test or the tests, okay, there's various different ones, where your child takes it and you know where they are. I'll be honest with you. I personally, as a mother of a child with special needs, I don't give 2 iotas what, God, I haven't said that in forever. Do not laugh at me because I just said that word. Okay, so I don't care where my child is in regard to a norm reference test. I actually removed my child from taking the state assessment and from taking the alternative assessment. I'll tell you why. I decided that, do I really care if my child tests well? No, I don't. Do I really care if my child knows how to read? 500%. Do I care if my child knows how to do basic math, meaning addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, adding money, daily living type of math without using a calculator? Yes, 500%. And do I care if my child knows how to do biology? No, I don't. And do I care if my child has this extensive amount of knowledge in reference to history? No, because I teach her that, and we're literally right down the street from the Smithsonian. So I think I got that covered. So in looking at your child, all right, and I want you guys to do this, all right, and looking at your child, you have to look at the end of the day, what is important to you. When your child walks out of school and is no longer in school, whether that be, 17, 18, or 21, all right, you need to figure out, or 22, I think it is, you need to figure out what is it that's most important for you, for your child to learn. Now, some of us have high functioning kids, and that's totally different ballgame, okay? I work with clients who their children are in honor classes and are gifted, but have disabilities where they have an IEP, all right? And so, wherever it is that your child is where you can kind of get an idea of where they're going and where they're going to be. And if it surpasses what you think, then that's great. But at the end of the day, you need to kind of write down for yourself, like, you know, maybe this year in 2020, write down, okay, this is where I want my child to be, you know, in 5 years or 2 years or whatever. And then next year, do it again and then compare what you wrote, because things may change and you may change, your child may change, they may learn more. They may have regressed. You know, we hope for the best, right? But you're going to have that change throughout your life and theirs. And it's important to just have a plan and each year restructure that plan if needed. But that is going to help you in kind of dissecting and focusing on what's important in that IEP. Because a lot of times schools will focus on this whole big picture to provide FAPE. Well, in order to provide FAPE, you need to do what's needed and appropriate for a child. And sometimes it's not appropriate to do certain academics with a child because that's really not where they are. And they're so far behind in like math or reading, the two most important subjects, that maybe, just maybe, like I am this year, focusing solely in one of those two areas or both. Okay? So Skylar being at Linda Mood Bell, I'm able to have her focus solely on reading, and then they do math as well, and then I'm doing math at home. And then, of course, you know, she learns other things in different ways, and, you know, I teach her, and I have tons of books and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, what am I focused on just this year? Reading. Do I care? Is that going to hurt her because she's not learning, you know, science or history? No, it's actually been amazing. And I could not be more thrilled at the progress she's making with reading and the jumps. It's actually crazy. So I feel blessed that she's there and she's able to make that jump. And I figure, you know, what better year to do it than this year, you know, with COVID and everything. So it's working out. But you have to focus on what's important, all right? And especially right now. So if your child has this whole picture of academics and possibly goals that are either too little or too much, let's look at that and really figure out what's important and what it is you want them to know. So hopefully this isn't kind of going over your head. Hopefully I'm making some sense, hopefully. But what I'm saying to you is really, you know, when I teach my students online, all right, and they purchase my course and they have my whole kit and caboodle of from beginning to end of how the IEP works, you know, one of the things that I do is I make sure that they understand that there's no one size fits all right? And there's no one lesson plan that fits all. And unfortunately, that's what's made a lot of times in school. And so I'm starting to change my own brain and looking at IEPs of where is it this child needs to focus more this year right now, and maybe 4 months down the road we can tweak it. But sometimes, and this is something I'm going to start approaching a lot more because I'm finding this to be an issue, and I'm evolving and changing all the time, guys. All the time. I think the only way to grow is to evolve and change and learn. And, you know, I'm finding and looking at all these IEPs that, you know what? This child does not need 8 speech goals, you know, 2 reading goals, and 5 math goals. And do you know what I'm saying? So what is important is if the child has, say, reading issues and speech issues, focus a lot more on that. Maybe have 6 of those and then maybe 3 or 4 math goals, because once the reading comes, the math's going to come. I can promise you that, all right? So once the reading improves, then you can up that math, you know? And once the speech improves, then the reading's going to improve and then the math's going to improve. So they kind of bounce off each other. It's kind of like, okay, this is going to be a funny analogy, but hey, it actually does make sense. Have you guys ever had pain? All right, so like some people have chronic pain or some people have had pain, all right? And let's just hypothetically say that you're having pain in your lower back, all right? So give me a thumbs up if you've ever had pain for a period of time in your lower back. Just give me a thumbs up. Hear me out here. Come on. You guys can do this with me. This is a good analogy, I promise. All right? So if you've had pain in your lower back, then you probably know that a lot of times it's not your lower back that's the problem. A lot of times, if you have lower back pain, it's your glutes that are super, super tight. All right? So when your glutes are super tight, your back, your lower back is going to be in pain quite a bit. All right? Same thing with, if you have shoulder pain. All right? So like right in this area, that like where we hold our stress, right? Well, when you have that kind of pain, a lot of times right here in your neck hurts. And a lot of times it'll radiate up here and give you a headache. All right? So do you see how pain radiates and changes? All right? And isn't always in the place where it seems to be? Well, it's the same thing with your child, believe it or not. So a lot of times, they may be showing one thing, but it's really another. All right? So when we go, all right, we think, oh, they're having trouble in reading. We got to really force the reading. Well, if you're forcing reading on a child that isn't speaking well and doesn't have good speech, that's going to be difficult. All right? So you got to focus on the problem first, then address the issue that you're really thinking is the problem. All right? So same thing with reading. If reading is a problem and math is your focus, why is she having so much trouble in math? Why are things not working out? Well, does the child have trouble in reading? Because believe it or not, you have to read math. Math is something you read. So if you're having trouble with reading, but you, the parent, are focused on math, and math is difficult, you need to look at something else. What's causing that? Is it there is a deficit in the math because of how it's being taught? That's a big one, all right? It always goes back to that. But this is where the puzzle comes in, is us as parents have to be these like, I always say we become like an attorney even though we're not an attorney, but it's important to understand that we have to figure out this puzzle because a lot of times the school is not. They're just not. We have those amazing people that actually will tell you, hey, this is what the problem is. But a lot of times, they have other students and they don't have time to like figure out this puzzle, And so if your child is having trouble with math, look at the reading. If your child's having trouble with reading, look at the speech. I'm telling you, they correlate. They go together. All right? So reading is speech. Math is reading. All right? And if reading is there, math comes a lot quicker. All right? And, if any of you, a lot of people have asked, can you tell me about Linda Mood Bell? Well, that is actually something they taught me. And I never knew. And once I figured it out and they taught me, like they literally went through the whole thing with me, not just about my child. And because I was like, can you help me understand this? Because I want to be able to tell people. And they actually literally laid it all out for me and it clicked. Kind of like the same thing with reading, where a lot of schools, they work on like decoding first or, the child's fluency, when that's not where the child should be starting at all. Your child, if they're starting to read, especially if they have reading difficulty like apraxia, dyspraxia, dyslexia, all those types of reading issues, learning disabilities, same thing, then you really need to look at structured literacy, number one. But then number two, you need to look at how they're taught. Who is teaching them? What's their experience? And how is their experience going to benefit your child? And if their experience is 30 hours of training, that is not enough to change the life of a child with dyslexia, dyspraxia, or apraxia, or a learning disability, and sometimes even autism, and all the other different disabilities out there. I appreciate that a lot of people have these 30-hour trainings, 6-hour trainings, 10-hour trainings, all these different trainings that are given to teachers, okay? But I'm sorry, but it's half-assed, and it's not enough to teach my child. Just saying. And if you think that's efficient, parents, I'm talking to you, then go with that. Be okay with it. All right? I'm not okay with it. I would never let somebody teach my child with under 30 hours of training. All right? If you're going to be trained in so-called Orton Gillingham, the 30 hours of training is not enough. It's proven. They will tell you. They will email you. Email Orton Gillingham and say, is the 30-hour training that teachers are saying that they're having, which I've taken it, all right? It's great, but it didn't teach me how to go teach other kids. It taught me how to have some knowledge of what to do with my own child and how to help her and how it looks and what works with it and the breakdown of what it means and why it's so efficient and scientifically based. But it definitely did not teach me to go out there and teach children with learning disabilities and apraxia and dyslexia and all that. There's no in hell I would do that. So it's shocking to me that a lot of educators are allowing that. And, you know, even saying that in IEP meetings, oh, yeah, they've had the training. And then when you say, you know, a lot of parents will leave it at, oh, yeah, they've had training. Okay, how much training? How long? How many hours? Oh, 30 hours. Okay, well, that's not enough. That doesn't make that person qualified, okay, like I've spoken about. There's qualified and qualified. You're a qualified teacher because you're licensed and you have a bachelor's degree or master's degree or whatever. A lot of states are now doing masters. And okay, cool, you're a teacher. Awesome. My daughter's a teacher. I'm a teacher. Awesome. Yay, we're teachers, right? Now you got to look at, then you're qualified, all right? So now you're a teacher. Are you qualified to teach a child with a learning disability, with dyspraxia, with apraxia, with, what else? Dyslexia, autism, all right? So all these different things, all right, are going on. And I don't know about you guys, but 30 hours ain't cutting it for me, okay? It's just not. And I don't know how educators and school systems and districts are thinking that that's even efficient or that creates and is giving someone the entitlement and the title to be a qualified individual to teach your children. It's not. And so, you know, that's why, for example, Orton Gillingham, just giving you an example because they're the #1 out there in structured literacy and working with children and it being very effective for all the different disabilities out there, specifically dyslexia, apraxia, dyspraxia, and like autism and learning disabilities and all that. Basically any child that has trouble in reading, and it's scientifically based and it has so many peer reviews I can't even count. So, you know, I always reference that because it's the best of the best. Why not reference the best? But what has to be understood is the reason why Orton Gillingham says, okay, you have 1 year to be certified in group training, all right? Certified to be a group trainer. You have to not only have a bachelor's degree, but you have to then take 1 year with them and have a certified, to be able to be certified in group, or you can be certified in individual. You can't be both. There's no group and individual. It's either 1 year for group or 1 year for individual. That's it. All right. And that's after a bachelor's degree. Okay. To even be able to take that. So if that's what qualifies you to actually teach one or the other, not both, how is a 30-hour training? Because I've seen it in an IEP, working with a client right now. If she wants to say who she is, she's more than welcome to. Where it's group and 30 hours of training. No, you're not even allowed to do that, according to Orton Gillingham. And you definitely shouldn't put their name out there with the 30 hours of training and say that you're qualified to do it when they specifically will email you back and say it's not. That's a problem. All right. So norm referenced is compared to, all right? That's like, I am 43. Okay, I just told y'all my age. So I'm 43. So anybody out there that's 43, let's just say we're in 5th grade. All right, so if you're 43 in 5th grade, all right. And so we're all taking a test, all right? And say the average score is 80 out of 100, all right? So that's a norm reference test. We all take the same test. We're all of the same age, 42, 43, 44, all right? And we're all in 5th grade, all right? So then the average is 80, and then where you fall is either above average or below average, all right? That is a norm referenced test. It is your state standard test, your standardized test. Criterion reference tests are individual based, all right? They're based and measure the knowledge and skill of your child, all right? So teachers use criterion reference tests to determine if your child's mastered material, hopefully, all right? So a good example of a criterion reference test would be a spelling test, All right. Your child gets 10 words each week. They study them, and then on Friday they take the test, or on Monday they take the test. All right. That is them presenting and producing what their knowledge is. If they get 5 right, they got a 50%, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you know that Criterion reference test then reflected what their spelling is. Where do they fall? Is it good? Is it not so good? Etc. All right. So that is very, very, very important to understand. All right. So there's 2 major tests: norm reference, Criterion reference. Remember, because we're gonna have what do we call it, guys? Like trivia night. All right. We're gonna do a trivia night coming up soon. All right. And then that's a question I'm going to ask. What is a norm reference? What is a Criterion reference? All right. So that is important. So if your child regresses on skill, all right, the way to know that is to retest them in that area. Let's just go to a spelling test. So your child took a spelling test for March, April, May, and June. All right. Then in July, your child was then tested on all of those different words in March, April, May, June. And maybe those words there wasn't as many, but 10 words were picked out of those months, and they were sporadic. Some were from March, some were from April, some were from May, some were from June. They were all mixed up and jumbled, but not a max amount, just a couple different ones messed up and put into the test, okay? To see if the student really mastered those words, all right? Giving them, say 50% of the words that were in those months. Well, dependent on how your child does, will then reference back to, did they really master it? Did they take the test one time after studying with possibly mom and dad, and then go take a test and it possibly be memory? Or the following month, taking a test and combining those words and taking that test in a totally different month, and then know, because they're not going to know what words from March, from April, from May, for June when they take it in July. It's going to be mixed all together. So dependent on what they score on that test is then going to reflect if they really did master that skill, because then it's not memorization, and you know that. So that's something to keep in mind and to be able to do. That's what you can do with your child's goals, all right? So with your child's goals, you can actually look at this darn new chair. Like the handles pull out and back. It's like, gets me all whatever. So one thing that you guys can do is look at your child's goals and test them on them. All right, see what's working, what's not. See what they've mastered and what they haven't. Go back to progress reports. I have a progress report that it was check boxes. And it said they met the goal, they partially met the goal, or they didn't meet the goal. And a lot of the check marks were on the partially met. Well, partially met is basically not meeting the goal, okay? So I appreciate the fact that they said that, okay, we're maybe a third there, fourth there. I mean, I don't know what partially met meant. That's why I don't like that word. That shouldn't be in the progress report, because it's a random word that could be used for many different things. So if you say partially met, does that mean they're halfway there? Does it mean they're 3/4 there? Does it mean they're a quarter of the way there? I don't know. So if I don't know, it can't be put into the IEP, because then that's not presenting the IEP with sufficiency and clarity. Clarity and sufficiency. Yeah. So, and that's a procedural violation. Is the IEP not presenting itself with clarity and sufficiency? And the information being presented to you in regard to the IEP, for example, evaluations, is not presenting itself with sufficiency and clarity. All right. It's actually clarity. Is it clarity? Yeah. Clarity and sufficiency is how it's written in the procedural violations. So I'll give you an example of that. These are important things to know, and I want you guys to remember this. Is, for example, All right, your child took an evaluation. Let's just say it was the speech evaluation or OT evaluation. All right. Say they didn't finish the test. Say they only finished I have this situation happening. Say they only finished the questionnaire part of the test. But on the test, it says partially finished. But we weren't able to finish the whole thing to get the whole picture. And this test even says that the in-person portion of it could not be done. And the reason the in-portion part of it could not be done is because the student was unable to focus. His behaviors of escape was very profound. And he was in a room with the speech therapist and just unable to focus. Now, mind you, this is a child that they've never offered a BIP to for some godforsaken reason, but we won't get into that part. We'll just stick with the fact that the student, all right, couldn't finish an evaluation, all right? And then we have the IEP meeting. Oh, get this. And there's a speech therapist there, but it wasn't the speech therapist that actually gave the evaluation. It was just a speech therapist that they chose to put in her place to have the speech therapist there. The same speech therapist that couldn't explain the evaluation because she wasn't the one who gave the evaluation. And a speech therapist that when I asked multiple different questions would say, oh, I can't really answer that because I wasn't the one there. Okay, well, why the hell are you in this IEP meeting then? Just to take up space? Because in all actuality, your job is to go over the evaluation that you didn't do and aren't providing me the information that I need to effectively participate in the IEP meeting. You are denying my right to participate as a equal team member in the IEP meeting by not having the adequate information in regard to the evaluation of my child. Procedural violation. And then you are not producing the information, presenting the information with sufficiency and clarity. Clarity and whatever the hell it is, y'all. It's one of the two was first and the other one's second. So just whatever. That's another procedural violation. Problem, right? How are you telling me that you have a draft IEP ready with speech goals if the child didn't finish the speech evaluation, the triennial? I don't understand. Can you explain that to me? You see my problems here? I got problems, seriously, y'all. I got serious problems. Serious problems. Stresses me out. This is what I deal with every day, y'all. But yet I love my job. But it's frustrating. Really, really, really frustrating. Because I don't think... you want to hear what happened to me today? I'm going to tell you another story. All right. So now that you guys know your two tests that are important. All right. Make sure you guys know your standard score, your scaled score, and your percentile rank. Percentile rank is where they score within what? Norm referenced. All right. Standard score is where your child is Criterion referenced. Okay. So here's the deal. So I email, the one thing I do when I do my IEP packages is I deal with emails. All right. So if you're hopping on, guys, post a 1 below if you're new, first through third time. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Okay. Thank you. And make sure you share. All right. I see all you guys. I'm so glad you're here. All right. So here's the deal. So one of the things I did today was I sent out an email last week. All right. And this was interesting. So hey guys, it was a basic email. It actually was not one of my crazy emails of holy hell, this is a serious violation type of case. It wasn't. There's violations, there's issues, but I just sent out a generic email and requested the things I always request, which is a breakdown of evaluations, and I asked for a FERPA request of all the records. This was the first email, guys, that I've ever emailed to this team. The first. Nothing rude, nothing disrespectful. And I'm normally not rude or disrespectful. Normally I'm just pretty assertive and factual. But bottom line, this was so crazy. So the team didn't get back to me. Their attorney did, who tried to bully me. Okay? So she says that she's not gonna, they're denying the IEP meeting. She said that they're denying the FERPA request in multiple areas. And then they're going to provide a PWN. But then they're also providing a meeting notice. Okay. So I, of course, respond, with the parent. And, the parent, I'm asking the parent, like, this is insane. Like, I know what I'm going to say, but this is freaking nuts. How does, number one, why would a school system, the first email you send, just with a FERPA request and a request for evaluations and asking for an IEP meeting, that was it. All right. And they respond with this bark of a attorney who decided to bark what she was going to do and what was going to happen. And in the grand scheme of things, guys, there's no difference in attorneys and advocates in any parts of the special education field other than court. Most of the time, to be quite honest, not all the time, but to be quite honest, advocates know more than attorneys do when it comes to special education, especially if they're parents of a child with special needs and have been through stuff and whatever. That doesn't mean attorneys don't know their shit. That just means that a lot of times advocates know more. All right. Now, the only difference between the two, other than price, is the fact that attorneys can go into the courts and fight. All right. Supreme Court, Circuit Court, all that. Advocates can do due process, but they can't go to the Circuit Court and they can't go to the Supreme Court. All right. They can assist attorneys. I've assisted attorneys. All right. I've actually done a lot of the work that an attorney then went and presented in court, and I sat by them. I sat behind them. But I did all the work. But as far as, an advocate going to court, that's the only thing they can't do. They can deposition for a due process. They can put in motions. I've put in motions. I mean, they just have to have the knowledge to do it, obviously. But that's it. All right? So you have to make sure that, like right now I'm working hand in hand with a retired judge, hearing officer. And so that's important, to understand that advocates know more than most special education teachers. I don't try to say I know more than any one person, but Debbie, but I know that I have known a lot more than many attorneys I know. Okay? So I can say that. All right? But I can't say all or whatever. The thing is kind of like, attorneys don't go through things like a mom would, or, which most advocates are. Some are very knowledgeable, some not so much. And, they don't have the passion, so to speak, of how they go through things. All right. A lot of times I've found in the special education field, all right, that a lot of times the whole picture kind of goes over their head, and the only substance they have is the fact that they're an esquire and attorney, and that's looked at differently. And, like I've considered, because I'm in Virginia, mentoring under an attorney for the 3 years to become an attorney myself, because Virginia is one of the 4 states. California, Virginia, Vermont, and New York, I think is what it is. You can actually go under an attorney, like apprentice with them, and become an attorney in 3 years, and then I can take the bar. So I'm contemplating it. contemplating it. I don't know if I want to go through more school. I have 2 master's degrees already, and I'm just over and done with school, so I have no interest. But I am interested in law, so it's something I'm considering. What did I tell the attorney? I responded and said, listen, I understand your thought process, on maybe some advocates. Maybe some advocates have backed down from you. I don't know. But I'm not. You're not going to talk to me like this, that's for sure. And you're definitely not going to bully me. All right, I said that. And then I said, and in regards to the FERPA request, let's go through that. So I added a attachment from FERPA, all right? And I said, look at page 27 through 31, where it says you can actually email the FERPA request. They don't got to go pick it up because of COVID, and that's still in place right now. Number 2, you actually have to provide these documents. You don't get to say, now I do go above and beyond, and I ask for more than I could get, because I go above and beyond, and some of it is actually what would be called a FOIA request. But shit, if they're going to send it, why not ask, So sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. She caught the things that would be a FOIA request. Okay, fine. Let me re-request it. And I requested everything, PWNs, progress reports, evaluations, all the stuff that we can request, all right? She actually tried to say that the parent couldn't request medical information. Bullshit. Yes, she can. It's her child's medical information. If you don't want to give her the nurse's notes, that's fine, but you have to give her child's medical and health information. So I didn't back down. And so I said, if we need to take this further, that's fine. Let's do it. But bottom line, there's going to be an IEP meeting. I can guarantee you that. So what she had said was the team says that the IEP is adequate. I said, no, the team did not. Because the team includes the parent, who's just as much part of the team as the school-based team. And the parent disagrees. So the team does not agree. And I said, each and every year, a parent can ask for a reevaluation. You want a reason? Here you go. The child has reading disabilities, okay, in that realm of dyslexia, dyspraxia, and so forth. And so I said, you haven't seen the child in 6 months. The child just started school. She's already showing that there's issues in reading again. She needs reevaluated. So basically I'm saying to her, test me, lady. Seriously, test me. Because if you're going to tell me that you're not going to evaluate a child that hasn't been in school in 6 months, over 6 months, and who has these diagnoses, all right, dyslexia, dyspraxia, and so forth, and is already showing that she's having issues. And the special education teacher is, oh yeah, I think we're keeping track of her reading and math minutes. I think we are. What do you mean you think you are? So, bottom line, I want this attorney to mess with me. Please mess with me. All right? Please bring it. Please tell me that you're really not going to provide an IEP meeting for a child that needs reevaluated based off 2 disabilities in regards to reading and has not been tested at all as of yet in the past year and a half. And on top of that, the parent has data, which, guess what? By law, right now, due to COVID, the parent's data is what it is. And you can't trump that because you haven't seen the kid in 6 months. So let's do this, lady. Let's play this game, because this is one I'm gonna win. It is. You can't say no to that. Number 1, you can't deny an IEP. Sure, you can say, nope, we don't agree. We don't think the child needs an IEP. But if you give a sufficient reason, such as this child hasn't been in school for 6 months and has dyslexia and dyspraxia and so forth, and they need a reevaluation so that we can have present levels so that that IEP is adequate to that child's disability so that progress can be made. Right now, you're going off an IEP that God knows if this child is there or not. I don't know. Do you? If you can deliver to me where this child is right now presently, then we can have a discussion. But if you can't, then evaluate her. And if you can't, we need to have an IEP meeting so that then evaluation can be discussed. So she didn't respond back. So we'll see. We'll see. And, you know, you would have think she would have jumped back, you know, because how she came at me was, I had that last week too, again, last week. So today I had one, last week I had another. Dear Lord, these attorneys really are having a heyday with me. Neither in which have responded. Well, one did and said, you know, we're going to do this, or here's the FERPA request is what they gave me. Which I have to go through with the parents. So it's interesting how schools are like sicking attorneys on me. So I got attorneys sucked on me all over the place right now. But none of them have yet to come up with anything. And it's something that we're getting to that place. But it's almost like, you know, when you address a school system in a way that takes them off guard. I'll give you an example, all right? I mean, I have so many crazy cases, guys. I could tell y'all stories all day. I'll tell you one more. Last week, I sent another email, all right? This one was... It was requesting a FERPA request from a school district that the students had changed to. So they were in one school district. This year they got approved to go to a different school district. All right. In looking at the one students, there's twins. I was working with one. I'm working with other later. So the one, his IEP was just not, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't adequate enough. It didn't have enough goals, and there was just things missing, and something wasn't right. And then the student hadn't been evaluated in a long time, over the 3 years. Please get evaluations every year, guys, okay? So anyway, long story short, I send an email, and I don't remember if it had some detailed issues. But it was my generic one, which is basically, hi, how are you? This is who I am. I'm representing the child and the parent. These are the things that I'm requesting. I'm requesting an IEP meeting. I'm requesting a FERPA request with a gamut of things I'm requesting. And then I request an evaluation. And then I actually specify what assessments I'm looking for and why. All right. And believe it or not, most school systems will respond back pretty quickly, and we work together. Sometimes we go at it for a minute, and then we come together, and sometimes we just come together. And then at the IEP, sometimes it's a little rocky in the first part, going back and forth on things, and then most of them just get to the point of, okay, they're smooth sailing, and we're good to go. Some we go back to the table and we get it done. Many of them we have the reevaluation and then we redo all goals and present levels. And it's just really important. Those present levels, guys, I can't tell you how important they are. But in this situation, the director of special education gets back to me and he says, you need to email the other school system. You need to email the other school system and ask them for the records. No, I'm sorry. That's your job. Okay. So I pulled up Oregon. This was Oregon. Yeah. I pulled up Oregon state law on district changes. All right. Moving. And what it specifically stated is in regards to changing districts and records was, and this is in most places, but I always like to look up that specific state. In this state, it specifically said that it is the school district's, the new school district's job within 10 days of that child starting in that new school district to put in a request to the other school district, the old one, to request all of the records. At that time, the old school district then has 5 days in which to produce those records to the other school. So the first school, the new school, has 10 days to submit the request for the records of this student that started in their school. The second school district, the old one, has then 5 days in which to respond and provide all of those documents to the new school. Never is it the parent's job to go to the school, grab records, change the records from place to place. No way. Okay? So don't ever fall for that, number one. So I responded to this director of special education, idiot guy, and I said, no, that's your job, and you're going to do it. All right. And then I literally copied and pasted the state law and sent it to him. All right. Along with the fact that he said he was unsure of what the student's plan of action was and IEP and everything. And then the fact that he didn't have the records already showed that nobody had even been shown the IEP of this student. How are you following an IEP if you don't even have it? And you're telling me online, emailing me, that you don't have a student with an IEP's records to give to the teachers and staff to show what this student's present levels are, what their services are, or anything else. These are the things I'm finding out, guys. It's crazy. Crazy. So make sure you pay attention to your situations and make sure to stay on point. All right? Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to question what somebody's doing. All right? All right, guys. Hi. So we have, everybody's here. Michelle and Melissa and Marlene and Dorothy. Hello. Hey, Christina. Lorraine. Who is this? Christina Hollis and Dorothy and Lorena. Hey, lady. We have Kim and we have Cynthia and we have Chas. Hey, girl. How are you? And Tess. Hey, how are you guys? And Nicole. Wow, long time. How are you? Good to see you. Oh, see you online again. Myrna, and if I didn't tell you, Nicole, congratulations. Nicole's a scientist. She's really smart. So congratulate her on her master's and her stuff. We got Michelle Dick on here and Cindy and Linda. Hello, hello. Cynthia says, yep, OG emailed me every certified person in my state and what every level means. Yep. Liz and Yolanda and Christine. Gosh, hey guys, and Ray and Jody. Welcome, Jody. So if you're new, post a 1 below like Jody did. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. New is your first through third time, okay? Then after that, you're not new anymore. All right, that's a good thing. We got Teresa. What did the attorney tell you? I hope you didn't back up. No way, girl. No. But I am one, guys, that if I'm wrong about something, I will say, you're right. I'm wrong about that. I apologize. I'll own it. But they don't seem to know how to do that. Me, I'll own it. I don't know everything. I'm cool with owning it. Not a problem. But yeah, I mean, normally with the IEP stuff, I mean, I know my stuff. And when attorneys come at me like all stupefied, and okay, here's the thing. You know, when I send my first letter, I always say request. Like I'm requesting the IEP, I'm requesting the FERPA request, and I'm requesting the evaluations. Well, every time an attorney's emailed me, they say that I've demanded it. Where did you get demand from? I even bold where it says request. It's bolded, underlined, and bolded. And then I put my request for the IEP. Bolded and underlined my request for FERPA. Bolded and underlined my request for evaluations. Where the hell is a demand coming in? I don't demand anything. I request. If you want to call it a demand, that's fine. But that's your assumption of my request. And that's not my problem. That's yours. I can't be in control of what you assume. Right? Am I right? Not my job to worry about what you're assuming. If you want to know something for sure, maybe read it. It says request. Or ask me. But don't assume. Assuming causes a lot of problems. All right? In relationships, in emails, and whatever. So if you want to assume, that's on you. You want to know the facts? Read it, because it says request. So if you're going to repeat something that I did, you better have your facts right. But that's what attorneys do. All right? You guys know that. I know that. They're going to switch and fumble up your words. But I'm quick to find it. Don't tell me I demanded anything. If I demanded something, you would know it. And I requested it. So take it as the request and suck that up. If I demand it, I will let you know. I will personally tell you that I'm demanding it. All right? I don't sugarcoat things. I don't have to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. So if I'm going to demand something, attorneys, if you're watching this, know this about me. If I'm going to demand something, you're going to know it. If I'm requesting it, it says request. If I'm going to demand it, I will let you know. But don't tell me I demanded something if I didn't demand something. Okay? Fair enough? Okay. No, I didn't back down, Michelle. Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you guys for sharing. I appreciate that. What are you telling me congratulations for a test? What are you guys telling me congratulations for? What did I... Oh, is it... If your child is taught with Orton Gillingham, does it matter if they are tested and diagnosed with dyslexia? I believe my son, 5th grade, has dyslexia, but at the last IEP meeting, they said it wouldn't really matter if we diagnosed him because he would be taught the same way. I call bullshit, Cindy. I call bullshit there. I do. Because something about that doesn't make sense. Because number one, it always matters. It always matters. Why? I'll just be blunt with you. As a mom, why would you not want to know if he has dyslexia? Answer that. That's number one. All right? I'm telling you why. Why, as a mom, would you not want to know if he has dyslexia? That is huge information. That changes all kinds of things across the board, not just in reading. My child has dyslexia, I know. Okay? So, number one, them saying that it doesn't matter, he'd be taught the same way. How do you know that? How do they know that? How are they predetermining what's going to happen? I don't get it. You don't get to play God. I'm talking to the school. So the child needs diagnosed to know if this is a problem. And if this is a problem, then we as a team should want to figure out where that problem is stemming from and what can we best do to support that child in the educational setting so they, number one, feel good about themselves. Number two, make progress, which makes them feel good about themselves. Number three, helps them to fit into society, into the school with other peers, and not feel dumb. All right? I can't tell you how many kids I've heard say they feel dumb or they can't. My own child said it once, you know, and she has autism, a child that I honestly did not think that would have come out of her mouth, where she said, "Mom, I'm dumb. I don't know this. I don't know how to read. I'm not good at it." And she knew that. The things she knows and feels has come out more and more. She's 15 now, as she's gotten older, because she knows how to express it better. But as far as younger kids, they understand, they get it, they have all those feelings of wanting to fit in, of wanting to be part of it, of everything, but not knowing how to get it out. So you're talking about a child that he's in 5th grade. He feels something. He knows there's a deficit there. All right, maybe not in that word. And you should know as a mom if he has it, because how he is taught, I don't give a shit if they're doing Orton Gillingham. I don't care. Because if they're doing Orton Gillingham, what is that with? 30 hours of training? Because I can tell you, most school systems do not have someone certified. So that's not enough. So they're saying he'd be taught the same. We're not going to change anything. They're already saying we're not going to change anything. They already just said that, and they don't even know what the diagnosis is. They don't know if he has dyslexia. They don't know what he has. They're just saying, why find out? Because he's going to be taught the same. That's making a predetermination of placement. And that's a procedural violation. They're predetermining what's going on with this child and where he would be placed, if anywhere, different, based off a disability that they don't know he has. I have a problem with that. Or I would if I were you, because I don't like what you just said. That pissed me off, let alone how it made you feel. So, no, I would go back to them and say, number one, my child's getting diagnosed. Number two, and not only are you going to do the test, you're going to do the CTOP 2 test, you're going to do the CLEF 5 test, and when you're done, I'm going to disagree just so I can get an IEE. I just tell them straight up. And they can't do nothing about it. Nothing. They can't do shit. Because if you get an evaluation from the school, they have to do an IEE or take you to due process. So shit, tell them. If they're going to say something like that, I'd say it straight up, just like that. I'd say, this is how it's going to go. You're going to do the evaluation. Because that comment right there, if they really said that, I would throw that right back in their face. And I'd say, guess what? You don't get to play God. You don't get to predetermine if something's going to change, because you have to have the evaluation to do that. You can't predetermine that and guess and say, it doesn't matter what they have. This is how they're learning. You don't get to do that. And you need to say that straight to their face. You don't get to do that. You are not allowed to do that. Ever. Not okay. CTOP 2, CLEF 5 would be my two favorites. The CTOP 2 will tell you straight up if he has dyslexia. All right. Aw, Sebastian's so cute. All right. Hi, Viviana. My school said a diagnosis didn't matter, and now that we have a diagnosis, they want copies of our private evaluations. Well, number one, don't give them a copy. You know that. You know what I would do? I would take a picture of the doctor's name and then just the autism part or whatever it is, and then I'd give it to them. I wouldn't. It's none of their business what that write-up says. Shoot. Use that for you and your leverage. Don't give it to them, because they ain't going to change anything. You got to fight for what's going to change. They're not going to just say, okay, he was diagnosed with this. Yeah, let's change it all up. They're not going to do that. I'd ask them, what are you going to change? This is what's said. What are you going to change? How are you going to address the IEP and the present levels to reflect what's been tested? I'd love to hear what you have to say. Please. And you can show them at the IEP. Show them at the IEP, just don't give them a copy. Does that make sense? So, because they're not going to remember what they read. So, give them the evaluation. Have one copy, your copy at the IEP. Hand it around. Let them look at it. So, they're going to see it. All right? And if you're in a one-party state, make sure you get that on recording. Okay? And say, here's the evaluation that so-and-so did. So, it's on recording that you said it like that. And straight up say, you're welcome to read it. Do you see right? And then point things out, okay? Make sure you point it out, all right? Leah, so you're going to take that paper, all right? And you're going to say, see right here, he was diagnosed on such and such date by Dr. So-and-so with autism and dyslexia. And it goes on to say that he has trouble with expressive and receptive language, and he has trouble with some gross motor skills, and blah, 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 blah. So you're going to kind of highlight before you go to the IEP meeting all the important things, and you're going to read them out loud while you're recording to the school team while they're looking at it. Here you go. I just want you to read it, but you're going to have already made yourself a copy and highlighted what you're going to say. Got me? And so then they're looking at it. You're recording. You're saying the most important things on that evaluation while they're looking at it, because you need to voice everything that you're doing if you're recording. So if you ever need to show it to the state or you want to do process, it's explained what you're doing on the recording. So you'll say, here you go, Miss Smith. I wanted to bring my child's evaluation to the IEP meeting today on such and such date. I know it sounds stupid, but that's what you're going to do. All right. And then you're going to say, so yeah, Dr. So-and-so on such and such date diagnosed Tim with autism dyslexia, and even goes into detail of how he really struggles with expressive and receptive language, and how he's really struggling with gross and fine motor, and he's low in his math skills, blah 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 blah. So you're naming all the top things that would change an IEP that she is now looking at, that you now have on recording. Now, what comes next is the best part. What does Miss Smith, who's reading this evaluation as we speak, as you're recording and highlighting with your words that evaluation, okay? And you're just going to sit back and wait and see what she says. Is she going to make recommendations based on a relevant evaluation? Which she should do. So you sit back and you wait. And then, let's say a couple minutes go by, maybe she says some things or whatever. And then you're going to say, so are you going to make recommendations based off this evaluation done by Dr. So-and-so that has produced information that is different than we knew before? And then they're going to probably say something like, no, because it's not affecting them in the educational setting. Now you, as the parent, this is what I teach people, you got to already know what she's going to say before she says it. So our job, okay, and this is where this gets good, all right? So in my course, all right, I teach this. You have to know the problem before you go into the problem. So if you know you want an evaluation, you have an evaluation that says X, Y, Z, you need to know that passing that evaluation around, recording it, and going in and knowing that you want something different on that IEP, you have to go in knowing that they're going to fight back and say things like, oh, well, this doesn't really explain, or, oh, well, I'm not going to change it because he doesn't show these things in the educational setting. You've got to already know that the IEP or the progress report or some sort of something in documentation that you have says that he's struggling in reading, or he's struggling in math, or he's struggling with XYZ, that is now reflected in this evaluation, that you can say, no, you are incorrect, because this evaluation says go over it again. All right. He was diagnosed with autism on such and such date by Dr. So-and-so. He has issues with receptive and expressive language. He has this, he has this, he has this. And then pull out your documents. This is the best part, okay? You pull out all your documents, all right? And you say, because, back in 2019, just say it was 6 months ago, all right? 6 months ago, you put in the progress report that he was struggling with, expressive and receptive language and responding to comprehension questions. He wasn't remembering things, and his auditory processing was not on point. And just go over every deficit that they have noted, all right? Because these are things that they're not thinking of, all right? You go back and go through every document from the past year, and then you're able to reflect on that evaluation compared to the past year. You're able to find all of those deficits that reflect back on the new evaluation that you now have. So you have supportive and objective data to support what you have to say in that evaluation. So anything that comes from them that is against and going to put back and put into so-called what they call a place of the evaluations, of outside evaluations, where schools want to just throw them out and not even listen to you. You have to already come into play knowing that you have objective data, you have that evaluation, and you know what they're going to say. You know they're going to say no because he doesn't show it in the educational setting. You know they're going to say, oh, we don't see that here. You already know all that, so you already have your fight and your argument already in play. Does that make sense? Does that help? So you got to go at it. So when they're talking, you need to just go. Your mouth needs to fly. All right. You need to say, no, that's not true, because according to this data, it says this. According to this data, it says this. You need to start pulling your stuff right in front of them. So they're like, holy shit, what has she got? And they can't argue with you, because that's what you got to do to get it done. All right. You have to be able like, this is how I got a child a one-on-one. I think it was the week before last week. I don't know. I fought for a one-on-one for a student, and won because the dipshits didn't know what they were supposed to do. And it pisses me off because they should, all right? And this is why a lot of our kids don't get the things they need, because they don't even know the freaking laws. And so here's the deal. We have a child that needs a one-on-one. We have a child that shows that they need a one-on-one because they cannot sit for assessments. This is the same child. They cannot focus. They want to escape. Escape behaviors are when they want to get up. It's not just running away. It's, they want to escape from the work that they're doing. And so this child needs a day-to-day person to sit with him and to be able to help him focus on work. And when he wants to escape, they're able to take him to maybe a sensory room, or, a room where he can, chew on things because he's a chewer, and he needs to, have that hand-to-mouth manipulation. And, there's things that have to be addressed. So you can't just sit a kid down and say, hey, just deal, and not have a plan of action in place. You have to have a plan of action in place. And guess what? The teacher can't just grab him by the hand and take him out the door. You have to have somebody to be able to do that. And so the argument was just that, and how all of their documents said, that he needed, assistance, that he needed support, that he couldn't take the test because he wanted to escape. He couldn't take the test because he needed to focus more. All of these things. So I was like, okay, this is what I said to them. I just want to understand this because I want to be able to make logical sense of it, because as of yet, I've yet to be able to do that. So you have a student that for the past 2 years, you've said that he can't focus, he can't do his work, he can't, he's not on grade level. He's so much far behind. It was like 3 years. He's just not focused. He's not even able to take a damn evaluation, and we get his present levels because of behavior. And behavior not as in bad, but behavior as in he wants to get up and go play, and he wants to, move around, and he wants to touch things, and he wants to put things in his mouth, and, he's eating things that he shouldn't be eating. That was one of the big things, is he's eating like Play-Doh, and he's eating all these non-edible items that's a huge safety issue. And you're telling me that he doesn't need a one-on-one? So you want to know what my next words were? I said, are you out of your mind? I said, this is a safety issue. And if something happens, believe me, you're going to be sued so crazy bad, your head's going to spin. So I want to understand how you're not going to provide a one-on-one to this student that desperately needs a one-on-one based off of your data. That's the crazy part to me. Off of their data, after their own data. This is stuff that just blows my freaking mind. I need serious help trying to understand this stuff sometimes, because it's like that frustrating. For real, it is. Okay, I'm done ranting. All right. Can a school district refuse a child with an IEP their neighborhood school if the child is switching from virtual to in-person school after the year started, and the school says their classes are full at capacity and says she can go to school across town that has space? Okay, so here's the deal. Here's the deal with that, okay? I don't know if you're on my page at this time, all right? But I was very clear with you guys. If you're given a choice of virtual and in person, always pick in person, because you can switch to virtual. If you pick virtual, you cannot switch to in person. All right? That's just across the board. There's no changing that rule. Now, technically, you can change that rule, all right? So I'll tell you how you can change that rule. It has to be needed. So how do you prove that it's going to be needed? Well, most of our kids aren't learning very effectively online, right? So it's not that hard. It's just fighting them to do it. And lately, you guys are going to have to push the button. You're going to have to suck it up and possibly put in a request for due process. Because does that mean you're going to due process because you're putting in a request? Not so much always. But and you can put in a request for mediation at the same time, which is what I do, in hopes that we mediate, in hopes that they put their brain back in their head and we figure it out. Is that guaranteed? No. But 85% of due process cases settle. And it's a give and take, but you can put down your requests just like you would in a due process request. Don't do it unless you are well informed of how to do this process or get somebody who does. But right now is the time to do it. Right now is the time to do it. Don't play right now. All right? Let your voice be heard and don't be afraid of it. Halfway through due process, you're going to freak out and you're going to say, oh, I wish I didn't do this because it's stressful. But if you mediate and you come together and you don't play and you don't fall for their, like at first they're going to play hardball, you know, and you're like, screw this, mediation sucks. That's normal. They're going to play hardball in the beginning. You got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and hack it to get to the other side. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay? There is. It's a lot of damn work to get there, but it's worth it. I'm telling you. I've been there. I've done it myself, and it's worth it. I have physically done it myself, not for others, for myself. Okay? My child. So, pretty much everything I do, I've done for me and my child. So that's why, you know, and then doing, of course, with other clients, then, you know, of course, the knowledge base grows. But I've been through it. So I know when I talk about feelings and sticking through it and feeling like you want to give up and all that, it's because I know. I've been there as a parent, you know. I've felt all those feelings of anxiety and, you know, anger and frustration and ready to punch a wall and all of those feelings that suck. All right. The large course is awesome. I have learned so many new things that I didn't even know about. It was the best investment I have made. Thank you. I appreciate that. Also with your mini course, I'm working right now, getting everything that I need, emailing the team in the next day with the request for the Scholastic records. Cool. And if you need me to copy and paste something to you, let me know, Kim. But it's also in that in the files section of that group, of the course group. All right. Online is freaking disaster for my kiddo. I just want to pull him out and homeschool him until this stuff is resolved. So saying they're full is not a valid reason. No, it is not. They're not allowed to say, oh, take them across the freaking district. No. If it's needed and appropriate for that child to go to school, in school, and that's being offered, and you hypothetically mistakenly said virtual because you were so scared of COVID, Mom, okay, hear me out, hear me what I'm saying, don't take it literal, that you were so offended that they would even deny your child coming into school because you didn't know, you were afraid of COVID and you were just worried about your child's safety. And now that that's not as prevalent as it was, you're seeing that FAPE is not being provided to your child. You hear me, Ray? And FAPE's not being provided by your child, by this district. And you're not going to put your child in a position where they have to be inconvenienced and pay the price because you made a safety decision. How dare them? You hear me? Did that make sense? Did you hear and read between those lines? Yeah, no, they have to do what's needed and appropriate. They can't say, oh, we're full. You're not full because guess what? That child was in your school before COVID happened. You're not full. There's no full. What do you mean full? We're full. What does full mean? Like, are you allowed to have 2 kids, 5 kids, 20 kids? Is there some number? Because according to most states, there's no cap number of how many kids can be in school. Okay? And if you have to switch something around or you need to tweak something, then that's what you need to do. That's not my problem. You figure it out. Tell them that. Straight up. It's not my problem. My child needs this. You're not providing FAPE, so we can take this to another level, or you're going to provide my child FAPE. And he's sure as hell not going to pay the price and have to be driven across the district and everywhere else because you are full. You better figure it out. No. What is needed and appropriate for a child with an IEP is what's needed and appropriate for a child with an IEP. It's not a one size fits all. One day it could be good, the next day it can be hell. One day could be one way, the next day it could be this. You got to figure it out. It's a puzzle. It's never going to be just black and white. It's not. It is not. There's gray. Gray is where we live. All right? So gray is the world we live in. There is no, it has to be like this. It has to be like that. No, that's not how an IEP works. That's not how life works, people. All right? How it works is that life is messy and gray is messy. And we're in this messy mess together and you got to figure it out. All right? So the school system's job is to figure out how to provide FAPE. And if they're not doing it online and they are offering in school, then that school needs to figure it out. Because this other way ain't working. All right? Of course they're bullying you. Just that attorney had bullied me today. She thought she did. I mean, when I read stuff like that, it just pisses me off. It doesn't bully me. Hi, Stephanie. How are you? All right, guys. I've been on here like an hour and a half. You're welcome, Liz. You're welcome, guys. All right, so don't forget, I'm having surgery tomorrow. I'm actually not going to sleep tonight. So if you want to message me, you can. I'm finishing a state complaint that I've been procrastinating on. Yes, I've been procrastinating. I am human, all right? And like, just because I've been going back and forth on different violations and if this one's worth it, should I not do this one? And I'm so detailed and I'm a psycho perfectionist. And so I'm having psycho perfectionist problems right now. Sounds good, Kim. All right, guys. So don't forget, I'm having surgery tomorrow. So I will be out of commission. You're welcome to message me, but whatever I message you back, you cannot hold against me. You got to promise that you will not hold it against me because God knows what will come out of my mouth. So I'm going to try not to respond too much because, yeah, me on pain medication is not a good mix. That's why I get off as soon as possible. But I'm a baby, so I can't deal with pain either. So, like, I'm screwed. So, after surgery, it's like I have to take the stupid drugs, and then I don't want to take stupid drugs because of how they make me feel. And I feel like crazy. I feel like my brain's not working anymore. And I don't like that. I'm very OCD like that. Good. Thanks, guys. And I will be back on here hopefully on Sunday. I will still message or whatever. And I will keep in touch. I will keep posts coming. And if there's certain, maybe I'll do something where you guys can tell me like different posts that you want to see. Like what type of knowledge base are you wanting to have? Are you wanting to see COVID kind of posts? Are you wanting to see, posts in regards to tips and tricks? What are you looking for? So if I'll put like a poll out for you guys to respond to. All right. Thanks, guys. So I will talk to you soon and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye-bye.